Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by our Patreon supporters and CoolStuffInc.com. You can find cool stuff in stock every day, and our co-sponsor, CardHoarder.com, offering the best inventory prices and delivery of cards for Magic Online. I'm Evan Irwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, Aaron Campbell.
Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Ruben Bressler.
Hi, how are you?
Professional
Previous to
interrupter.
Me annoying you, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I went the wrong way. I'm trying to get sent. Evan didn't tell me I wasn't centered.
I sent you a shot. You asked for it. You said,
Am I centered? I think I'm centered.
You're fine. You're fine.
I'm okay.
Look, goodness gracious. We also begin with our trumpet blast, which you'll get one if you support us at our highest level on Patreon. And we kick it off with our first pick and giveaway, because we don't have a trumpet blast this week. Giveaway is a $50 gift certificate to CoolStuffInc.com. Type !raffle in the chat after you subscribe, because you get two chances if you subscribe first. So !raffle, $50 for free, courtesy of CoolStuffInc.com. Yay. Which means
see, Ruben, I'm not the only one that thinks you look blown out.
I saw that.
We tried to tell him. We tried to tell him, and he was and he was yelling about something about lights or something.
I wasn't yelling about anything.
He was yelling about
let me
stuff.
check
Are
this.
there 3 lights, Ruben, or 4?
There are 4 lights.
There are 4 lights. There are definitely 4 lights.
There
Okay,
are
so
4 lights.
for the first pick this week, you can't get around the metric bomb that went off with the banned and restricted list. Monday's update, June 1st, 2020. The new companion rule was released for the first time, far as I can tell, ever.
Yeah.
They just rewrote a mechanic 100%. Now, once per game, anytime you can cast a sorcery during your main phase when the stack is empty, you may pay 3 generic mana to put the companion from your sideboard into your hand. It's a special action. You can't Pithy Needle it or anything. It is not an activated ability, so it doesn't trigger off any of that stuff either. Draneth Magistrate or whatever doesn't stop it anymore.
Right.
Which is a thing. And that's to start. Then Agent of Treachery is banned. Thank God.
Yeah.
And Fires of Invention is banned. Where are we 20 years later when you go, free stuff is broken, and they gave us free stuff and it was broken?
It is interesting, right, that when we were talking about Fires of Invention, we were like, this could be good, right? Question mark, maybe.
Question mark.
While, yeah.
And then, 6 months down the line, and now we're here, and it's like, wow, that is... It caused a lot of problems. The interesting thing to me is that Winota dodged that particular bullet, because Winota and Fires of Invention are super similar to me.
Winota getting the trigger, putting humans into play for free, knowing that you have a human that takes a permanent, it don't take that much to put 2 and 2 together.
But the interesting thing about that is that they got rid of the agent and not the Winota. So.
Yeah. The thing I found so funny about all of this is that Agent of Treachery is already costed in such a way so that they don't want you casting it easily. This thing is 7 mana.
Yeah.
So, they knew making it that you had to add a high cost to this, otherwise you're going to have problems. And then they go ahead and, release it into a format with these cost reduction mechanics. The thing I found so interesting about Fires of Invention is not only does Fires make things free, it also forces you to disregard mana. Specific types of mana don't matter anymore. Yeah. And we're seeing this problem in Legacy right now with Arkham's Astrolabe, where, we were coming off of a format with Deathrite Shaman to where mana was irrelevant and you could run whatever you wanted to. And Deathrite Shaman was banned. And now we are in this Arkham's Astrolabe era where, again, mana doesn't matter and you can just run these check piles, these piles of good stuff. So it's ironic that they would get rid of Fires of Invention for, free spells and mana not mattering anymore, and then pass over Astrolabe, which people in Legacy have been asking for to be banned for quite a while now. I couldn't help but notice that.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that it doubles your mana. It, like Wilderness Reclamation, doubles your mana. Mana doubling spells for free rather than pay. Like, these are just all the hallmarks, the classic hallmarks of broken stuff. And they ran it out there and it broke again. Like,
until recently, the way to get Agent of Treachery into play was to ramp into it. You had your Arboreal Grazers.
Or
and
you
your
reanimate with that weird cauldron thing.
Sure.
You saw play for like a day.
But for the most part, it was those blue-green Uro decks and Growth Spiral decks trying to get to Agent. But then we started getting Luca. We started getting Winota. We started getting ways to cheat it. into play, and that's when things got out of hand, is because, again, mana costs should mean something, and when you're able to do that in Standard, it's so weird, because it's very against Wizards' recent design philosophy to print a card like Winota, to print a card like Fires of Invention. Agent, less so. Agent is a kind of card that they print.
Agent's a powerful into the battlefield ability on an expensive
card. It's a 2/3
card.
for 7. Like, they thought that was reasonable. That's fine.
Exactly.
I can forgive Agent, but with all of these other tools around it is a little suspect.
I do want to be careful, though, because I do think Standard should have nice things, and I don't necessarily think that broken things have no place in Standard. I think they do. I just think that these particular things not only led to egregious win rates, but also just a lot of feel bads where people were like, not only is it good, but we are just not enjoying this. And Wizards has been very vocal about that with a lot of their recent bannings the last few years, is that, they really want to create fun games. And if something's powerful and unfun, it's really just on its way out the door at that point.
I mean, like, for example, people bring up Teferi. Like, Teferi is annoying. It's fine. It's a good Magic card. I'm okay with good Magic cards.
Right.
Not Magic cards that, like, don't let me play Magic, which is what Agent of Treachery is basically doing, or let you play anything and make mana, either double your mana or make mana not matter, or both. That's what that was the hat trick. It did both. Yeah. Like, that's incredible. It did, like, the Aether Vial thing and the Wilderness Reclamation Nissa thing.
And also
it did all once.
Agent of Treachery, much like Casualties of War, when Casualties was the most popular card in the format, secretly a land destruction spell. So when you could cast your Stone Rain on turn 4 with Winota and turn 5 with Luca, that's when things really started getting out of hand.
Right. It definitely got to the point where when I was playing and they played an Agent, they went for the mana. They didn't go for anything else. And that's how they won, which was ridiculous. Now, and I would note that part of the announcement, I didn't read every last bit of it there. They also announced that in Historic, which is the format in Magic Arena with everything in it, on the client, Agent of Treachery is suspended. Fires of Invention is suspended. This is kind of a temporary thing before they go ban forever. If they want to be banning them forever, who knows? We'll see.
Same deal as, they basically do that when they happen in Standard because Historic is so similar. Right. My guess is that Fires will come off eventually. The Fires decks in Historic were eminently fair and balanced compared to their position in Standard. Not much changes, and so when you have more tools to be able to handle them, it's nice. Agent, they might just keep away because it's a card that is miserable.
It's kind of miserable. When it's good, it's a little miserable. It's in that manner. But Agent, there aren't really a ton of great ways outside of Standard in Historic to get Agent going. So, like, I don't know how bad like a Luca deck is for Agent in Historic. Right. Particularly now that the commander rule has changed, or the companion rule has changed, and you don't have Yorion happening all the time. It's interesting because Sam Pardee had a tweet here saying not reimbursing people wild cards for companions also totally sucks. And, someone's like, I want 40 wild cards. And then somebody else was like, what if they just gave you like 10 because, companion, right? Which I think would be a decent middle ground for what it's worth. Just given the fact that they do something totally different. We've never been in this world where this is honestly it's a little bit like Fantasy Flight does from time to time, where they'll just make something work totally different in one of their card games or board games, or errata a card to do something totally different. It's happened.
So the last time that Magic errated an ability, the ability did not have reminder text on the card like Companion did. Right. They changed Substance, which was, long time ago, before the year 2000. I'm a very old man. But they changed how Waylay worked and a few other cards so that you couldn't, like, end of turn make 3 2/2s and have a 6 power worth of white creatures with haste, essentially, in your deck. That's the last time that this kind of thing happened, but that doesn't really count because it's not changing words printed on the cards. Much more similarly is how Hostage Taker was misprinted, right? And they said, all right, everyone just read Hostage Taker in this way from now on, even though physically the card, if you handed it to a neophyte and said, read this card, and then they would go, oh, it can just go infinite. And you say, no, turns out there's errata. right? But this is a combination of the two. I'm happy that it happened, but you're bringing up a company where it's less exciting when they've done it.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of expected in many ways.
I do want to bring up something that I really liked that came out of the banned and restricted announcement. Beatrice Grancha, who is a 2020 Rivals League competitor, made a video of her playing I Will Survive on the ukulele while her boyfriend, Javier Dominguez, flashes cards that have been banned recently, such as Hogak. Ferocidon made an appearance, Oko. And it was just incredibly funny. Loris is on there now. It was incredibly funny and charming and just a nice change of pace from the people who, might have been upset about this. It was cute. I liked it.
There were some really good entries into Magic tweeting in the last week. I think it was, someone made a really excellent dancing TikTok, and I'm forgetting who it was. Pozo.
Well, we got to keep moving here. We got lots and lots of things here to cover. Moving here to gather the townsfolk in our brand new view. Hey, where you see our heads hanging out.
I was just going to say, were our heads
I gotta be careful because that's going to get me.
Yeah.
I'll be picking my nose or something.
Nice. Signature Spellbook is going to be released exclusively to game stores.
Oh, nice.
On June 26, 2020, because I've seen the previous spellbooks in like Walmart, and I've seen the list on Amazon. So if this is only to game stores, that's first of all, that's fantastic. Second of all, the cards look super cool.
They do.
This is, for instance, and of course, because my software is weird, I'm going to have to reload this. This is the first time you're going to be able to get Fiery Confluence in foil. Which I thought was pretty neat.
1 out of every 8 boxes.
So 1 out of every 8 boxes. That's correct. And all right, View, don't work. It's fine. I don't care.
It's a cool Pyroblast.
I know, right?
The Pyroblast is gorgeous. The Pass in Flames too is just like oof.
Yeah, the Pass in Flames is amazing.
I wish that Ascension saw play because I like that Ascension too. It's an angle that I'm not used to seeing a character in on a Magic card. So
yeah.
Well, I can pull it up here a different way because the software hates me.
We're all sort of talking about Signature Spellbook Chandra in like a minor key, though, because like, does it really matter? It feels like it sort of happened, and people are like, eh.
I feel like
product fatigue.
If we had no Spellbook next year, we wouldn't miss it. We wouldn't be like, where's the Spellbook? Like, oh my gosh, we really need the Spellbook. We don't.
Yeah.
I do need them to make a Signature Spellbook Liliana before they stop making these.
That would be nice.
I might get that.
I mean, the money is here from the Torch of Defiance. The Fiery Confluence is super cool. The idea of getting a foil one when you can't get otherwise.
Yep.
Pyroblast, was a foil Pyroblast possible in like a master set?
Eternal Masters?
So.
Eternal Masters, okay. The new Pyromancer Ascension looks great. I would love for that deck to come back. And the Past in Flames is super dope. I love the Young Pyromancer is great. This is really nice.
And I think you can get these in non-foil too, right?
Yes. 1 in 8 comes foil in the box. But you don't know
at
which
random, one of those 8 cards will be foil. The rest will be non-foil.
Okay, good. Because I'm one of the weirdos that prefers non-foil.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer non-foils too, especially with the recent foiling shenaniganry that's been
Oh my god, have you seen those?
Oh boy, it is weird.
I will say though, I did get my Commander 2020 pre-con and those foils were immaculate. So whatever they're doing with that, keep that up.
Well, and the foil curling, whether it curls like up or down, is based on the amount of humidity, if you have too much or if you don't have enough. There's a whole variety of things that people do in various climates.
But it also matters. See, to me, it's more about the printers because they use a different printer for different products, don't they? And
they use different printers all over the world, as I understand it.
So some of these have been, more warped than the Starship Enterprise, and it's a problem.
Look,
set phasers to disappointment.
Well, hopefully there'll be no disappointment tomorrow morning, because tomorrow morning, up and early, Adam, at the Pacific, Ruben, 7 a.m.
I can't be bothered.
Pacific time. At 7 a.m. Pacific time, there's going to be the Core Set 2021 Variety Show with Jimmy Wong.
Nice.
They're running a countdown, twitch.tv/magic. It's set at 7 a.m. in the morning for you, so it can be a decent hour for literally everyone, even all the way into Europe.
10 a.m. Eastern.
Yes. It's good for me.
What would that be? That would be
9 a.m.
3 in the afternoon, Greenwich Mean Time.
2 or 3, something like that, yeah.
Let's see. I just want him to be wearing a Bob Barker suit with like a skinny microphone. That's what I want out of this.
I would watch that.
Shot in 16 millimeter. Like I want bad. Like they have to change out the videotape in the recorder.
Goodness
That's
gracious.
what I want out of this. There's a gong.
There's
like,
gong. Look, sort of on par with that, we have Mark Rosewater doing a teaser list. I love this. He brought this back, I think, a set or two ago. This has its roots all the way back in EnQuest from back in the day. We have a card that lets you draw half your library. A brand new Planeswalker from a plane we've visited. That's pretty cool.
Okay.
A +1/+1 tribal lord for a creature type that's never had one, like Scouts, for example.
Ooh.
A character with a Vanguard card and a legendary creature card gets a second legendary creature card.
Ooh.
That's interesting. A card with 31 different options. How do you get 31? What kind of modal type of spell?
That is weird.
31
different options.
Which is pretty cool. There's a whole list here, and
that's a prime number. I don't know how that
that's
happens.
True. So
the one I'm most excited about, a card with the words battlefield, cast, creature, converted mana cost, end of turn, exile, graveyard, and mana cost. Yes, this is fine.
Goodness gracious. They are reprinting a French vanilla mythic rare. Please be Baneslayer Angel. Please. Can we run the please Baneslayer Angel? That would be nice. A card with a unique protection would be interesting. Unique, protection from other players, somethings or other. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh boy, we don't need True Name Nemesis in Standard.
We do not.
It's fine.
It's fine. But these are all super duper fun.
Like
tomorrow
protection
morning,
from activated abilities. How's that? How about that one?
But we'll learn more tomorrow. We'll see.
It's like a scavenger hunt.
Well, other people will learn more tomorrow.
I mean,
I will.
I will. Aaron, probably.
I'll be awake, but I will not be watching.
Oh,
no.
Well, I'll
but
let you guys know how it goes. Supposedly.
I mean, there's not really. I made that up.
Yeah. So Wizards officially has canceled all of the in-person Magic events, all outstanding 2020 in-person high-level Magic events, including Magic Fests, all the Pro Tours, all of it's gone. This weekend, everything sucks.
I think we knew this was coming. The real blow came in the replies. Somebody had replied to this tweet and said, "Are you willing to commit to a return to paper events in 2021? We would be very pleasantly surprised to reach this point in 2021." So this sounds like they're saying they're not even planning on coming back in 2021. And, we've talked before about people looking to various things as being beacons, where if these things are still happening, then things aren't as bad as they seem. And, it went from being, Gen Con to, events in general. And, people are just running out of things to shoot for and to aspire to. And so, we all knew on some level this was possible, but to see it, in our face like this is really devastating. And, in other news, Command Fest is this Saturday. Myself and many other creators will be there. I'm planning on playing Commander all day long. So if you are a little bit bummed out over everything that's happening, come online and play Commander with me or with any of the other people who will be there. We're going to try to make that day really, really special.
The fact that they are trying to fill this void in our lives is really excellent, and that is certainly going to be a good event this weekend. I'm sure Aaron's dance card will be full the entire time, as it always is. I'm of the opinion that this is the responsible, correct thing to be doing. I think that returning to normalcy is not the goal that should be achieved here. There's a bunch of colleges that have announced that there's going to be classes in the fall, and I'm just like, what? Really? You're gonna? Yeah. That sounds like a recipe for grandma dying, right? To me.
Yeah.
I appreciate that they're taking their time, just because, especially with how magic works, like there are some industries where it makes sense, where, my hair salon just recently started seeing people again. And, you can imagine it. Okay, I'm wearing a mask. She's wearing a mask. There's partitions between us. They're not, going to be doing the blow dryer thing as much. They take your temperature when you come in. You can imagine that working and harming as few people as possible. When you look at magic inherently, you are this close to your opponent. opponent, you are, shaking hands at the start of a match. You are touching each other's cards. You are signing a match slip. There's just, how would you even go about that? Like, I can't imagine a world in which we do the same level of precautions and it turns out okay. So I couldn't really see this going another way.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be okay to have FNM at your store relatively soon compared to GPs, compared to Gen Con, compared to, those big events like that.
Right. I would know that there's been lots of big events with lots of people involved in them recently, and that may alter the trajectory of what we've been doing to start with.
You're not wrong. Although most of those events, and we're talking about the public consternation and protests for the Black Lives Matter movement, are outside. And so that certainly helps with
and lots of people have been wearing masks,
tracing.
so that's nice too. But not everybody, and that's unfortunate.
Black Lives Matter, Stonewall's a riot, all the things. Like, obviously, we're all on the same page.
We're all good there. Okay, so moving on here to some judge promos.
Ooh.
Speaking of things that happen in real life.
These kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah. We have promos that are dedicated to being tutors, as judges often are. We have Eye of Ugin, an Infernal tutor. I hate this plugin so much. Why do you do this? This is why we don't have a new setup in 5
This Infernal
years.
tutor is
because
gorgeous. Shout out to Jason Engel for this hilarious art of these little imps, like literally holding this person's face open and making them, read this text.
Yeah.
They're all beautiful. The Eye of Ugin, the Sterling Grove is a little goofy.
Like the Sterling Grove is basically...
neat.
Well, Birthing Pod is weird because it's not even legal in Commander. Like, what
Yeah,
are they
that
doing?
is an odd choice.
Is it banned in Commander?
Yes.
It is
I
also
don't know
not
that.
Worldly Tutor.
Yeah,
okay.
which is $40, by the way, as an uncommon from Mirage and 6th edition, which is ridiculous.
Like, it's weird.
It's not banned in Commander? Oh, thank you. I am so sorry. I was wrong about that.
Still, I've also never seen it in Commander.
I am glad that it's legal in Commander. They're not making a Primeval Titan promo. But regardless, these are awesome. Remember the Demonic Tutor one with the little girl and the dog?
Yeah, I love that
was
one.
super dope. So yeah, these things are really cool. And the
And I
judge
love the little
program.
owl character.
Yeah, the judge program is still going, obviously kind of on a pause button in many ways, but I know there's still sort of like online seminars and like, teaching stuff. There's still more than one game out there that needs judges. So we'll see how that works out. But, promos are dope.
Those Infernal Tutors, those are going to go good in the old Storm decks. I don't know if, Aaron, you don't really play the Infernal Tutor format, though. You don't play Legacy Storm. When you played Storm, you played it in Vintage.
I played Ant.
Did you?
I had Infernal Tutors at one point. I sure did.
And also, it's not in Ad
I
Nauseam in
never
Modern,
miss an
obviously.
opportunity to crack an LED and hold priority.
Fair. You know what? That's fair.
That is indeed fair. All right, moving on here. Amaz, content creator, is going to have his Peasant Cube on Magic Online beginning Wednesday, June 3rd, which is really sweet. Peasant being commons and uncommons only.
Nice.
Yeah, this was really cool. There was an interesting thing that occurred with this, and not the best thing ever that occurred with this, which is in the official announcement, they didn't say that it was Amaz's cube.
Really?
And so Amaz was like, what's...
Is he still
what's up?
banned? Is that...
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
Now, Amaz was, of course, suspended for a period of time for an incident that happened that no one ever... I don't even remember what he did, but...
He bumped into the judge.
That was the judge bumping. It was aggressive.
Yeah.
It wasn't
that
aggressive.
thing. Yeah. So there's something, I don't know, happening in this news story. But the bottom line is there's a Peasant Cube online that Amaz designed, and that's awesome. Good job, Amaz.
Yeah, the cube looks sweet. My boyfriend and I have recently gotten into cubing, and that's not a metaphor. And so we like to do, we usually will do a cube together. Like we'll sit by each other and we'll draft it and we'll play the games together. And then we will usually kind of splinter off and then build our own thing because we each have different ways that we like to play Magic. And, if one of us is making dinner, the other will be cubing and things like that. And so I've really been getting into cube lately. I'm not very good at it, but I do like trying to force, my brand of nonsense.
But it's fun. That's the beauty of Cube. It's super duper fun. Always different, always unique. The ability to, like, as Magic grows and continues on and so on and so forth, it only gives you more tools to create a very special environment that cubes give you the ability to do, essentially. And that's really interesting.
My friend Peter Johnson recently updated his counters cube where everything deals with counters.
Oh, no.
And Ikoria had a huge update to that one, so I want to play that one again sometime soon.
I've had people ask me if I'm going to build a cube because, obviously I love Graveyard Matters so much. And they're like, Aaron, you should do a graveyard cube. And I'm like, I wouldn't even know where to start. Like, between like building it and tuning it and sleeving it, it just sounds like a second job.
A friend of mine had
it's very rewarding.
Yes. A friend of mine had a graveyard cube, and the rule was that you had to build 45 card decks and mill the top 5 cards of your library on turn 0.
That's exactly where I want to be. Yes.
See, that's fantastic. I love that. Anyway, unfortunately, we got to move on here to some sadder news, which is the Playset podcast announced that due to a combination of personal reasons and world events, they're officially putting the podcast on indefinite hiatus. And Aaron, I think you have a little bit of insight on this one.
Yeah, so this is the podcast that started off as the Vendilion Click podcast and featured Emma Handy, Justice Steffen, Allie Warfield, Visa, MTG, and was produced by Ellie of the Veil, who we'll certainly talk about later in the show. Another all-women podcast bringing to light important issues. And we've talked about this before. It's very easy to start a podcast. It's a lot harder to maintain one. And, there is a lot going on right now around us that is very stressful for people. Also, careers have taken off. Meebo has hit the stratosphere since this show came out. And so it's understandable that, other things are going on right now that require their attention. But they're all superstars in their own way. And so I'm sure they're going to find other things to do and be in the public eye somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, best of luck to them in the future. It's not easy making a podcast last, let me tell you. And it's because people out there listening to us, you keep listening to us. Thank you.
Yeah, we talked a little bit in the pre-show about why we're still here, and it's kind of a lot of luck.
Yeah.
Personalities, success, I don't know, scheduling rather.
Work ethic,
Yeah, that's stuff
showing
too.
up every week. Yeah, that was one of the big ones.
Big one.
Part of it's showing up.
That you can do.
Yeah. Let's move on here to Desperate Ravings. Hoo boy, the Black Lives Matter Roundup. Who wants to take this? Because I don't really want to take this. If I don't have to.
I guess I'll take it.
Go for it, Ruben.
So, to be clear, I just want to get this out of the way. To be clear, it is not that Evan does not want to do this. He just wants to make sure he's saying the right thing.
I don't want to screw it up, please.
Yeah, please don't misconstrue this as like he's not for this or anything, but he's very cognizant of the fact that he could screw this up. So let's just get that out of the way.
I'm a giant white dude, okay? And I get how this is not my thing.
Also,
I don't want to mess this up.
To be fair, not any of our lanes. But we're here because we're a news program. So, George Floyd, as I'm sure all of you are aware, was a man who was killed by police, and the latest in a long litany of examples of police brutality against black people in the United States. This led to a lot of protests.
They're still going on,
and still going on in all 50 states and around the world. And there are a number of connections to the Magic community. Of course, the Black Lives Matter movement is a massive movement. It is the #1 trending thing on all the social media channels. And so it is going to seep into pieces of smaller subcultures, such as Magic the Gathering. Among the places that we see it appearing is with the Coalesce Apparel Design Company, which is Coalesce AD, which has a Black Lives Matter line that are available at the Coalesce shop.
With the M in the Magic font.
Yep. And sort of reminiscent of Black Mana on that sort of t-shirt and design.
Sold out, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, shirts sold out.
New company. I don't know anything about this company.
Yeah, they've been in the business for a while. The shirts that I think they're most known for is there's a Keep It 100 shirt, which which is a reference to Commander. I think there was also something with Emrakul at one point. I could be wrong, but
as I understand, this is Cedric's company itself.
Oh, I think so. Yeah,
okay.
but they've been around for a while. You know, we've seen their shirts here and there, but you know, this one obviously took off for all the right reasons. These shirts are sold out. You know, the money's going to a good cause, and I mean, it's a nice looking shirt.
Absolutely. There were. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, please.
Oh,
continue.
There were many companies that came out in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. And among them were Wizards of the Coast, Dungeons and Dragons, and Magic the Gathering. They tweeted on June 1st, "We stand in solidarity with those fighting racial injustice. We support those who are using their voices to affect systematic change, make their communities better places to live, and invest in the citizens and leaders of tomorrow. Wizards of the Coast will be making charitable donations to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, My Brother's Keeper Alliance, and Black Girls Code. We encourage those of you who can to donate, support, and engage with organizations within your community and with each other."
This was... So,
well, they went a little bit further than that now, didn't they?
They did. What people were really looking for from this statement was they wanted an explicit acknowledgement of Black Lives Matter. Some people felt like this was kind of dancing around the issue or trying to wrap it in prettier packaging. And so, you know, this is undoubtedly a good thing that they're doing, but we're seeing a lot of brands that are really kind of doing the bare minimum or, you know, kind of paying lip service. There's a thread going around Twitter of companies that are saying things, and then people are replying like, well, the 49ers posted something. L'Oreal posted something after they famously sacked a black trans woman. And so you're seeing a lot of companies just kind of showing their ass right now that, you know, are trying to say something, you know, but they're not saying the right things, or they're not saying anything at all, or, you know, what they're saying is coming across very hollow. And so the majority of people appreciated this, but there were some people that thought, you know, they wanted a little bit more.
Yeah, Wizards highlighted some black folks in the community,
right?
And which you know, this is classic Wizards, where good intentions meets lack of understanding / perspective, right, and they smash together into really awkward, uncomfortable situations.
Sure. Yeah, so they just posted 2 really random tweets where they were like, Cedric Phillips is one of our casters. Mm-hmm. Give him a round. Right. And then they're like, Rashad Phillips, you know.
Rashad
Miller, thank you. Yeah. Sorry about that. So, you know, Rashad, you know, groundbreaking, all this stuff. And it just was like, what?
Right. And they didn't tell Cedric or Rashad previous to sending the tweets. Which is, you know.
I thought I was
seems
like
step
that
one.
Just now. I was,
yeah.
That's a move.
Yeah, I mean, look, we could do nothing but do PR nightmares for the rest of the show.
Especially about ourselves, let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
but this is, I think, what Evan's referring to, you know, when he talks about wanting to do the right thing, because, you know, we understand it is important to highlight the black voices among you and the people who are doing the work.
Yes.
This just was not the way to do it. And so it was a bit of a misfire. You know, we do appreciate them trying, but how bad does it have to be when Helene Bergeau has to come down from on high to be like, you done screwed up?
Yeah. We got visited from the other side by the patron
Helene's
saint.
been avoiding Magic for a while. You know, she's been sitting on beaches. She's living her best life, and she posted a subtweet that indicated that this was very cringy. And then, just in case you weren't sure, this is what she was referring to. If you look in the replies, this is exactly what she was referring to. And so it was terrible, but there was a little part of me that was like just living a little bit.
She had tweeted yesterday, delivered painful examples of tokenism. It's sad and infuriating. And there was an open letter from Lawrence Harmon. God bless Lawrence Harmon. Thank you for being a part of this community, because he is laying it out, doing the work. There's a link in the show notes. I'll put a link here in the chat.
739 retweets. Wow.
It just lays it all out. Like, it's really clear. It's 18 pages. Like, part of it is some conversations he's had. Part of it is some tweets that's gone up. Part of it is a history lesson on what happened with Greg Orange. Like, it is just a one litany thing after another. You're just like, wow, if I was a black person, I could absolutely understand like how they feel, how Lawrence feels, and coming from that world. And I love that, because I need that. You know, what's this like for you? How does it feel being on the outside?
And it's not like Lawrence is new here. He's been a Magic player in the Midwest for a long time.
We talked about him on the show. Yeah, there was I think he wrote an open letter or something of the sort talking about why one of the reasons he thought there weren't more black people playing Magic before had to do with affordability and access. Sure. And so, he's been very vocal about this, and, this post blew up, rightfully so. And he said that Wizards had contacted him within minutes of this post coming up. So, hopefully something continues to come out of this and can benefit everybody.
And it can be very, and our show is not immune to it, as you can see. We try. We're trying, but we are also constantly afraid of saying the wrong thing, because everyone is. And it can be very easy to go from, wait, no, but I want to be friends, to saying the wrong thing and then being completely dropped, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't, and there is no recourse from that, because it's not our fight. It's not our problem. Right. Yeah. It's our privilege, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So knowing how to navigate that can be difficult.
And on that note,
certainly much less difficult than being black.
Yeah, and on that note, Ellie Rice, Elizabeth Rice, who wrote an article for Cardsphere, To Speak or Not to Speak, a content creator's role in socioeconomic and political affairs. This is amazing. And she talks about this very thing, about how, if you are a content creator or if you are a brand, here is how you should do it. Here's the way that you can go about that. One of the things that I really appreciated about this article is when she talks about positivity, because positivity is a word that's kind of been co-opted, particularly when it comes to streamers. I've lost count of the number of streamers that are like, good vibes, positivity, blah, whatever that thing they do with the tongue
toxic
is.
Positivity.
Right.
Get it out of my face.
And positivity is not just being nice. And, positivity is about being constructive. Positivity is about lifting up voices. And so I'm really glad that she touched on that, because that's a word that I feel like everybody's been throwing around lately, and not everybody knows what it means.
Well, yeah, I'm not kidding about toxic positivity. If I hear you say good vibes only, that means that you're not interested in looking at problems.
That's fair point. Look, at the end of Lawrence's bit here, he has a bit of what we can do better. I was going to note, not the stop stuff. We're kind of more or less aware of, stop pandering to black people type stuff. But he says, start promoting more black content creators. If you know content creators, hey, I pay a bunch of them every month from CoolStuffInc.com. You can feel free to send them my way. I would love to have conversations. But also, this is something we covered in the pre-show, if I were to hire a black creator, I'm not going to be like, look at that guy. Look at who I hired. Look at any more than I would be like, I hired this person who does good work, not, hey, I hired someone who was black. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, just to kind of put a bow on all of this, I think that everything that's happening right now is leading to a bit of a reckoning in a lot of communities, like Ruben mentioned, and specifically with ours, where, so many things that we've never thought about before, we're now paying a lot of attention to. We've always wondered, where are the black Magic players? Why does it seem like it's only just Cedric sometimes? Who are these people? Are they out there? We're now asking those difficult questions, and we're asking, why are there so few content creators? Why aren't we able to name that many players? And it's really shining a light on that. And so I do hope that there is, I do think there are the ingredients for change here. I just hope that it turns out the way we want it to.
All right. So, arguably touching a little bit on what we talked about last week, because we want to rip that one off again. Look, one of the things that we discussed sort of at the tail end was there were sort of rumors at the time of this VIP pack for Double Masters that turned out to be real, and what also turned out to be real is that it's going to be like $100.
Sure,
and that's kind of insane.
That's many dollars.
That's a lot of dollars. This is a 35 card pack that is going to retail for around $100, give or take. That's going to have 2 foil showcase rares or mythics, 2 foil rares or mythics, 8 foil uncommons, 9 foil commons, 12 full art basic lands, 2 of which are foil, and 2 foil double-sided tokens.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of sick pull you will have to have, because we don't know what's in the set. But my lord, there's going to be some ridiculous pull of someone bought a VIP pack and there's like $500 worth of stuff in there.
I mean,
It's
it
gonna
sounds like $100 worth of Magic cards.
If it's the Masters level quality, if it's Ultimate Masters level quality.
Ultimate, yeah. If it's full art lands, if it's foils, if it's rares, if it's 35 cards in a $100 booster pack, that's $3 a card. You don't need to try very hard to get that done.
This led me down the rabbit hole of sports cards and a company called Panini. And the way
sounds
that
good right now.
I know, right? The way that Panini presents their booster packs, they make a lot of stuff that is X of Y. They make 1 of 5, 1 of 1, which is always like the best thing ever because there's only one of it that exists in the planet, right? So they sell these booster packs for $7,500 minimum. $35,000 to start with. The price goes down over time until they all sell.
Sure.
From what I hear from my sports cards friends, they're going to sell for $35,000 for whatever's in them. And these booster packs actually go up in value because if that 1-for-1 rookie that was supposed to be in the set hasn't been opened yet, no one's found it, well, then they could be in there, right? And so even this little metal case that contains the booster packs sells for hundreds of dollars. It's the craziest stuff. We are going to deep dive into the most unbelievable crap. You just wait. Because first of all, there's collector packs for Magic 2021. Mm-hmm. Why? I don't know, right? Throne had the showcase storytelling stuff. Theros had the stargazing. You had the awesome comic book for Ikoria. What in the world are you going to do for a core set as part of your like showcase cards?
I don't know. Just some new style, some new interesting something.
What if it was the old style? What if they had beta versions, beta wordings?
That could be nice.
I would love that.
As part of their special. I think that would be pretty super dope. That would be dope. That would be dope.
Yeah. I think that this is. They've been dipping their toe into this for years.
More and more.
Sometimes it's worked, sometimes it hasn't. Right? They're batting maybe like 300. Right? A little less than 1 out of every 3. We're like, oh, good job, you did it. Right. And then about half the time we're like, take it or leave it. And then sometimes it's just a total fall flat on your face disaster.
Right.
Now they're at the point where like, all right, we're gonna try these $100 boosters so that we can start getting towards your.
Because, I mean, as we speak, they are selling the $160, $170 secret layer bundle that gets a free fetch land on top of it or whatever. And that's like they're selling those 5 at the same time, making a booster pack that comes in a 4-count box, quote unquote. That's hilarious. And yeah, we're down. We're right on the slope, y'all. We're barreling down.
It's interesting. I mean, I haven't bought a physical Magic card in a very long time. Not just because of the thing we don't say the name of, but also because I just don't play much Magic live anymore.
I mean, imagine this, okay? Imagine that there are artist proofs of something that Noah Bradley did, and there's custom sketches on the back, 1 of 5, right? Mm-hmm. How expensive are those going to be? How hard is it for Wizards to get those sketches and put them in booster packs? I don't know, but if you're going to sell a $100 booster pack and it's in it, the incentive is there, right?
I don't really want them to put artist proofs into booster packs.
I'm not saying they should or they will. I'm saying there's an example of a very hard to find, unique thing they could put into a booster pack. All right, moving on here to Mythic Market's share program. Oh my God. I thought this died. Here, let me say.
I will pause here and say I have no idea what this news story is.
It is, well, because
Ruben
we
hears
talked
things
about
like stocks and taxes and he tunes out. It's fine.
Right. And he's like, what's happening?
This is,
the
grown up things.
Okay, so the controversy began where LSV was doing some sort of a stream or a video where he's cracking really old packs and he's talking about this Mythic Markets idea and how he posted someone said that CFB deleted their comment about it because they were saying it's predatory as a word. That's all I'm saying. And he says that LSV posted a long comment that he wouldn't have if he thought this would put Magic players at risk, I wouldn't have promoted it. I read the details, and other people in different threads have too, but I went and read myself, went to look at all the filings I could find on everything they wrote. It is not a good idea.
No.
In my opinion, I am not a financial advisor, blah, blah, blah. I'm a dude on the internet, but It is, in my opinion, a pretty bad idea to put in money anywhere close to this, like anywhere close. I don't understand it. It freaks me out because, again, either LSV knew that the unbelievable rake on this is like ridiculous, like crazy ridiculous, or he didn't know that the rake was so completely insane. The system is so stacked against you for being an investor that like someone fooled him. And that's kind of worse. I don't know which is worse, honestly, because I don't want to doubt LSV's intelligence, but I don't want to have him know that like this is really not good. You're taking half the profits, a guaranteed 5% rake. You have expenses that you don't even have to account for or explain, like that have to get paid. What? Nothing about this whole service makes any sense, in my opinion, as a investment opportunity.
I seem to recall this company, hitting me up to work with me at one point. And if it is a different company, I apologize. But the sales pitch sounds very familiar, kind of breaking cards up into investments and percentages. And, as somebody who works, with investments and percentages, I was like, I don't feel good about this. And so I know a number of creators who've been approached by, this particular endeavor or who've looked into this, and they've all been like, no. And so it was really interesting to see, LSV aligning with this and also just to see the backlash, because LSV has always had a very kind of sterling reputation. He can really do no wrong. And so, to see him get a little bit of dirt on him was just like, huh? Like, it didn't feel like it was possible.
Right. Let me give it a little bit of context. Okay. So here's the airline view of what's going on here. These Mythic Markets is going to take let's say a stack of old boxes that are worth, let's say $75,000. You're going to buy a little tiny chunk of that, a share of that selection of boxes, right? And so over time, the idea is that it gets more expensive for those boxes as they exist. And so at some point, as I understand it, they could sell it if they wanted to, and they're going to take 5% off the top and then half the profits and give half the profits to you versus half profits to them. Their initial investment is 2%, but again, they get a guaranteed 5%. So they're going to make 3% run off the top plus half the profits. Half is kind of insane versus any other investment vehicle, and the percentage that they would take of that type of rake is kind of insane. The fact that there is very little accountability in this, there's something called accredited investors and how they're not using accredited investors, even though they sometimes mention accredited investors. It's a financial thing. It's a little bit weird and murky, but the idea is that you can't get your money out if you want to. If you're just like, I want to sell my share, they're like, well, sorry, we're not selling it right now. Where's the inventory coming from? Who bought and sold it? And 3, when you do the math, it is egregiously bad to hope that this is going to bring you some amount of financial fortitude. Like, I don't get it. Here's what I thought. Like, it was so bad that like we are as a community smart enough to understand what this is. And it was so bad last June that it just died. And we weren't going to talk about it anymore. It's kind of quietly
packaging.
It's kind of slunk away because in its shame. But no, it's back and I don't get it. I really don't understand it. So yeah, that's what I got on that one. Okay. And there's plenty of links in the show notes if you want to take a look at what everyone saw and read about and reported. Plenty of stuff in there. Secret lair foils are kind of insane.
Once you pop, you can't stop.
People are talking about like basically product being defective.
Yeah.
And it's hard to argue otherwise when they
but
look
where did they get that hand
bad.
sanitizer?
You found some. But yeah, so take a look at this. These cards that are so bent, they can stand up on their own. That's insane.
The way the picture was shot from the angle before I zoomed in, it almost looks like the keyboard was being held up by the cards, which looks like they could probably do. Like, this is wild.
Right. And someone noted they found a way to mostly fix it as some old humidors. And they were using...
What's a humidor?
A humidor is what you keep cigars in.
To keep them humid so they don't go stale and dry. So that's cool. But again, this is one of those where like, they're asking a pretty penny for these secret layers. And can you not make a product that doesn't look like that or act like that? I don't get it. Is it about the packaging? Is it about the printer? I don't know. It's really odd.
I mean, if it's the printer, they need to find a different printer and never use that printer again. Because this is like, we're going back to From the Vault days. It's weird. Yeah. How do we keep coming back to the foils don't get right in the special products? They tend to be fine in the regular products and about half of the special products as well. How do we keep coming back to this well?
Absolutely.
I don't understand.
It's a little bit ridiculous. There was a article written by Saffron Olive, excuse me, Seth, and he was mentioning here that Double Masters is for you, whether you buy a box or not, which is kind of a little bit what we talked about last week, which is basically when they reprint expensive cards, the prices usually go down, the availability usually goes up, and sometimes the price stays down, sometimes it doesn't, but generally all of the prices go the way you want them to go, even if for temporarily going down, and then sometimes they bounce back, or sometimes they go down and they just stay there. Platinum Perion was $20 and they reprinted it. It's down to $8 and it's still $8, you know, and like that's cool. In meta demand, that's good. You know, and sometimes it goes down. They onto the Veil, went from $100 to 60 and now stays at 60. Whereas Kozilek went down to 22, but is up to 56. So it kind of bounces all over the place. Again, link of this stuff in the show notes. But
I also think that Liliana's going to bounce back now that the companion rule has changed and you can play 3-mana cards in Jund again.
It's true.
But that's a specific example.
That's neither here nor there. Put the link there into the chat if you want to check that out, which is fun. Can we just admit the MOCS 2019 thing is just a complete joke? Like, what are we doing? What is happening? So we're halfway through the year, folks. Like, what are you doing with 2019? Just divide it by 8, send out some checks. We're sorry. We'll see you in 2021 or whatever. It's
absolutely wild that we're still here. So Magic Online sent out a tweet on the 29th that said that the MOCS Championship and Season 1 MOCS Showcase are postponed. There were a couple more updates, but it's like, you know, when you keep pushing it back.
Well, they say
we're
on the
in
webpage
June now.
We're in June. They say while MOCS typically is held in late spring or early summer, we are holding on scheduling that event for now and will likely be postponing it until later in the year. We will be emailing competitors with more details soon. Just email them. Just mail them a check. Just divide by 8. You're sorry. This is our reality. You couldn't make it happen either. Yeah. All right.
Look, the world's weird. Just divide the checks.
Well, there was a interesting mistake from Wizards that they were sending out secret layers with some thank you notes. And Wizards does this every once in a while. If they screw up or, you know, something's bad, they'll throw in a pack of cards or a foil pack or whatever it is.
We'll take it.
It's cool. It's fine. Until they sent someone a complete collector booster box.
Bank errors in your favor.
Back, did they?
Woo! Let me tell you.
I don't think so.
Okay, because that would have been weird.
A number of MTG Select Secret Lair fans, they said, who bought the International Women's Day drop recently received a display box of collector boosters when our intent was to send an individual collector boosters. That is a magnitude of 10 or so. Yeah. You're off on that.
Listen, they probably bought fans for life with those, so it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right.
Some value was lost.
Assuming the foils inside don't stand up on their own.
Some values was lost, some was gained. It's fine. It'll all work out in the end.
Yeah.
So congratulations to those who ran well and were able to make that happen. A segment we haven't talked about in a minute, which is Going Infinite.
No. Can we go back for a second? Because I really like one of these things. So,
did I skip something? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you did. So there was an article that came out on Flipside Gaming called How to Fix Magic.
Yes, that one, sorry.
And it was this really great deep dive into, you know, the last 10 years or so in terms of how we got to where we are in terms of bannings, cards that are being printed. I don't know if this young man has any sort of experience in game design, but he does, you know, go pretty deep. He does have some really great ideas. You know, he does highlight some of the things that all of these cards have in common. And I just think it's a really, really great take. The thing I really liked the most about this is he, you know, not only points out what's wrong, but he gives some feedback in terms of what they can do differently. And the part that really struck a chord with me is section 4, where he says the end game should not be the longest part of the game. And he talks about how there are so many cards lately that are extremely powerful, and then the game takes 10 more turns. And he's just like, you have to give us cards to end games. Give us more end raise front runners. Give us more Torrential Gear Hulk, where, you know, not only are you getting this powerful Snapcaster effect, but that blue deck is finally going to wrap this thing up. And so I really, really related to that. I really, really like that. I think he has a lot of great ideas. You should definitely check this out if you have some time.
Yeah, the fort. Go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say that the author's name is Ryan Normandin.
Yeah.
There you go. The 4 takeaways would be don't cheat on mana, which is something
we
should have learned
first.
20 years ago. The second would be let players interact. He talks about the issues around Teferi Time Raveler.
And Narset.
And Narset, unfortunately. And then variance is vital, which is the problem with companions, because they're always the same and always have the same play pattern. And like you said, the end game should not be the longest part of the game. Let the game end. No more elixirs of immortality. No more like making some 3/3s with Nissa while I make 3/3s with Nissa and we just stare at each other for a long time. You know, just end it. So yeah, a lot of really good notes in that one for sure. Thanks for bringing that back up. Okay, so going infinite, we'll just spend a few moments on this one, which is the idea that he said, Saffron Olive says, now that standard is going to be primarily on arena for the next 2 months, or next several months at least, I think it's time to revisit the idea of 2 rotations per year.
Yes.
That would be awesome. I like, look, they tried to shorten the rotation window before and everyone like lost their minds and it was a huge problem and stores were upset and F&Ms were losing attendance and blah, blah, blah. Well, congratulations. That's not a problem anymore. We now only have a digital environment, and a digital environment that changes more often than not is probably a better one than one that stays the same as it has for the past, whatever X years of competitive Magic at this point. Because as quick as they tried to change it, they switched it back pretty quick. I think we only lasted like a couple weeks, maybe months. Of the thing coming, and then
I see arguments both for and against. Obviously, the big argument against is that you're spending money on cards that won't last as long. They have a shorter shelf life.
Right.
The flip side of that is a lot of these cards are having shortened shelf lives because they're banned and restricted because they have interactions with cards that were printed 2 years ago that are still in standard.
It's true.
So I think it's worth trying. I think that it's worth investigating, and I think it's a good idea. I am in favor of more faster rotation. Like I would be happy if standard just marched along, right? Like
every new set would
every new set something else cycles out. I think I would be happy with that.
Sure.
But, especially since we're not in the 3 sets to a block formula ever again, it's
except that one time when they did it with Ravning.
Except that one time.
When they said they weren't, but then they did. Okay. It's fine. But it's certainly something interesting to think about, and we'll see if Wizards ever does anything else to rotations as a result. Turning the corner here to the finisher. Companion is no longer companion. It is now something else. Something more, 3 mana more to be specific. So now that Magic has shown their ability to errata toothpaste that have been left out of the tube, what other ails can Wizards cure, Aaron?
Well, social media has been a dumpster fire recently, literally and figuratively. The constant stream of information is both a blessing and a curse. So sometimes you've got to step away. And I'm looking forward to Magic taking a page out of the Aaron Campbell playbook and maybe, just maybe, turning off the account and not logging onto Twitter for a few days. You're doing a lot, Magic.
Disconnect a little bit. Just let it go. Let it go. Ruben?
It's the self-care. You gotta step away.
Absolutely.
So now that we can all agree that ACAB, or all companions, are banned, Magic has shown the ability to fix parts of the game that exist outside of the main deck. But why stop at the sideboard or the command zone? I'm looking forward to Magic taking charge of other things to help fix the game. So maybe, one day soon, the Magic homepage will be usable again.
It's a hot mess. Wizards, what have you done? No one wants to do it anymore. No one wants to take care of it. Websites are so whatever. Let's go run streams. Let's not put information on a web page in a way we can do it easily.
I don't know if there are articles.
There are. They're deep. They're deep.
I know there's announcements, but I didn't know there were.
I usually just follow Mark Rosewater's link in his Twitter every week.
Okay, that works.
Quite frankly. But look, we're still mostly stuck inside between the thing we don't talk about still being a thing and self-quarantining, like I'm doing myself, still happening. Then, now with mandatory curfews in a lot of cities, there's going to be there's going to be a good amount of inside time. So with a chance to sit down, take a good long look at the problem, maybe, just maybe, we can figure out the secret layer foiling process.
There you go. Some people are baking bread. Wizards can learn how to print.
Right.
Like, you hired the guy from Pringles, didn't you? Don't lie.
I was going to say,
you did.
The answer to both problems is ancient yeast. I'm sure. I'm sure that's going to solve everything.
Ancient yeast.
Ancient yeast.
All right.
So Chris RD says that he has a preview going up on the 9th.
Goodness.
Oh, he's on the Vorthos cast now.
And we
He's an
completely
official-
forgot to mention we have a preview next
That's
week.
why I was bringing it up to end the show. For those of you who are
Professionals.
still here, Magic Mike's does have a preview this time. They didn't forget we exist. They just skipped us. So that'll be next week's show.
Next week's show.
Next
First
week's
thing.
show, we have...
I'll give you a hint. It's a card I would never, ever, ever play.
Aaron's not pleased with it.
Right. They keep us on brand with those previews.
Just
want to let
saying.
you know. But that ends another live episode of Magic Mike's. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things Magic. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, everybody. Take care of yourselves.
Thank you, Ruben.
Stay safe.
And move on here to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsor, CardHoarder.com, my co-hosts Aaron Campbell and Ruben Bressler. You guys for watching or listening. I hope you support us at Patreon.com/MagicMikes. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord. Watch Twitch.tv at Magic Mikes, on Twitter at Magic Mikes Cast, our Magic Mikes subreddit, and like the Magic Mikes page on Facebook. Talk to us privately at MagicMikesPodcast@gmail.com. Follow the audio-only podcast at MagicMikesPodcast.libsyn.com, or find us on iTunes or Spotify. Or join us here next week. Same time, same place for another episode of Magic Mikes. Good night, everybody.